There are some voices you hear, and there are some voices you feel. Some voices entertain you, some voices stay with you. But once in a generation, there comes a voice that became a part of people's lives. Whitney Houston was that voice. Today, August 9th, we remember the birthday of a woman who was not just a singer, she was an emotion, she was a feeling, she was a memory, and for millions of people around the world, she still is. Whitney Houston was born on August 9, 1963, in Newark, New Jersey. But Whitney was not meant to stay in background forever. She was born to be heard. In 1983, music executive Clive Davis discovered Whitney, and 2 years later, the world was introduced to a young woman with an extraordinary voice. Her first album was simply called Whitney Houston, and certainly the world was listening. Songs like Saving All My Love for You, How Will I Know, and Greatest Love of All changed everything. Her voice was powerful. What made it special was not only the power, it was the emotion. She could sing one line and somehow make millions of people feel like she was singing directly to them. Her first album became a massive success, and Whitney quickly became one of the biggest female stars in the world. Her debut album was also the first album by a female artist to produce three numbers, one Billboard Hot 100 singles. But Whitney was just getting started. In 1987 came another album, Whitney, and with it came song that became a part of music history. I Wanna Dance with Somebody. Didn't we almost have it all? So emotional. We're two broken hearts. Cool. Whitney achieved something that had never been done by a female artist before. She had even consecutive number one singles on the US Billboard Hot 100. Seven, one after another. That is not just a success, that is history. And yet, when people talk about Whitney Houston, numbers are never enough because Whitney was never just about records. She was about how a song made you feel. Then came 1992, a movie called The Bodyguard. Whitney was not only the star of the film, she became its heart. And then came a song, I Will Always Love You. The song was originally written by Dolly Parton, but Whitney took it. It made it here. She did not simply sing it, she lived it. And when the voice came in, the world stopped for a moment. A song became one of the biggest recordings in music history. It spent 14 consecutive weeks at number one on the US Billboard Hot 100 and today Guinness World Records list Whitney version as a best-selling physical single by solo female artist with 24 million copies sold worldwide. At 1994 Grammy Awards, Whitney won Record of the Year for I Will Always Love You, and the Bodyguard soundtrack won Album of the Year. She had reached the top of the world, but here's something important. Whitney Houston's story was not only about being on top, it was also about being human. who struggle, a woman who sometimes seemed strong and sometimes needed strength herself. And perhaps this is one of the reasons people still feel so connected to her, because Whitney was not perfect. She was human, and sometimes the people who love most are not the perfect ones. They are the ones who make us feel something real. Whitney also gave us more than romantic songs. She gave us songs about confidence, songs about hope, songs about courage, greatest love of all. Reminded people that loving yourself matters. One moment in time became a song about dreams and believing in yourself. When you believe, her beautiful duet with Mariah Carey became a song about hope and faith. And then there was I Have Nothing. Run to you, all the man that I need. Exhale. It's not right, but it's okay. Different songs, different emotions, but always that voice. Whitney received 25 Grammy nominations and won 6 Grammy Awards during her career. And her success was not limited to the music. She became a major actress. She became a producer. She became a role model. And she also created about helping others. In 1989, Whitney established the Whitney Houston Foundation with work focused on helping sick and homeless children, literacy, playgrounds, and child abuse prevention. So, when we remember Whitney, we should remember more than the superstar. We should remember the women behind the superstar. And then, February 11th, 2012, the world lost Whitney Houston. She was only 48 years old. For many people, that day felt impossible to understand. Because how can someone whose voice feels so alive suddenly be gone? Fans cried, artists remember her. People played her songs again, and something beautiful happened. The world realized Whitney Houston was not going away, because a real voice does not disappear. A real artist does not disappear. They say in their music, they stay in our memories, in the memories of our lives. Think about it. Maybe you heard Whitney for the first time when you were young. Maybe you danced to I Wanna Dance with Somebody. Maybe you cried well, I Will Always Love You. Maybe greatest love of all gave you confidence. Maybe you heard voice during a difficult time in your life. Or maybe you simply heard her song and thought, how can a human being have a voice like this? That is Whitney's magic, clearly magic. Different generation can discover her and still feel the same thing: amazement, love, and sometimes a little sadness. Today, people still talk about Whitney. New singers still study her. Fans still sing her songs. Young people who were not even born when Whitney was at the heights of her career are discovering her today. That